All right. Party people, the place to be. Vandals and whatever else might be lurking in the darkness. We are back. The pink buzz is back. Joey, how does it feel to be back, man? Greet the people.
Feels good, man. Feels great. It's been a while. We've been on a pretty long hiatus, but we're back now, and we already got some pretty interesting stuff lined up for the next few weeks. So yeah, keep listening. We'll be posting it on the socials. So can't wait to share a lot of that stuff with you guys.
Yeah, I mean, next week it's going to be a battle of the Johns and a battle of the Joes because we are having the great John Lees and Joe Mulvey on to talk about their new comic, Pillar and Pride, at the Last Ride, and it's going to be pretty killer because it's a fun little book, and yeah. But before we get into that, Joey, do you got a check in? Do you got stuff you want to talk about that you've checked out since the last time we've been on?
Holy shit. We'd have to do it just an episode on that if I had to talk about all the shit from the last since the last episode. But no, I haven't been reading as much as I normally do. But let's see, shows. I started watching the new season of American Horror Stories, seeing as how Halloween's around the corner. We've been watching that. I watched The Bear. That was pretty
Yeah.
cool. I like that one. That one was good. Comics. What have I read recently? I've been reading. I read The Boogeyman from Ablaze, which is pretty good. That's a fun one. It's a take on supernatural beings that are called boogeymen, and there's a hierarchy, the old guard and the new guard, and there's like a kind of a war. Or anyway, it was pretty cool. Boogeyman was a fun book. The art style was pretty cool. It's kind of got like a bit of an
That,
anime style to it, a little bit. Yeah,
okay, cool. Usually they kind of have a painterly style to them. Like, what was that zombie one? Gung Ho? Like that one was
Gung Ho. Yeah,
really
yeah,
beautifully painted, like comic book.
yeah.
It's
Yeah. Well, Porcelain came out on
love it book, yeah, right?
yeah, that came out off them. They're putting out some interesting stuff
A
in the
lot of
last
European
year
stuff.
or
A lot
so.
of
Yeah, yeah, because they put out who's the guy who did Carmen?
oh, what is his name? The Spanish
Guillem
fellow.
Guillem something, or I can't remember. But anyway, Guillem March, right?
Yeah, that's exactly what it
Yeah.
is.
Anyway, they put out hit one of his earlier books too, just last year after Carmen came out for Image. They released one of his earlier works as well. So yeah, they're putting out some fun stuff. Yeah. Hey Randy, how's it going?
But
Nice to have you in the house.
and we're both kind of comic book famous too. We both got really neat features in our buddy Richard Morgan's amazing Bam and Glam. I'm a
Yeah.
chauffeur, and you are a freedom fighter, along with our buddy L. Do you know who else was in that picture by any chance? Because I know
Uh,
like he painted a lot of kind of our buddies in that, right?
yeah, a few. Well, I recognize a few people. Let's see. Got it right here. Yeah, that's the panel right there from
And
Bam and
that's
Glam.
you
These
in the
are
middle with the mouth all open, acting all wild, and then L's right next to you, which is really
yeah,
cool.
yeah, right. L's right beside me. There's a few other people I recognize off like Twitter and stuff, but yeah, that's pretty cool. It's pretty cool. He sent it like printed it out on like a full page, like production size, which is cool. It was nice, really nice of him, man. And it sent a bunch of other things and did a blow up of each. I think he sent a blow up of each person of the painting he did for the book for them. Yeah, pretty cool, man. I was surprised when I got that. I was like, sweet. That was a nice little mail call from Richard. Mm.
Oh
Oh, House of
man,
Nerds are in
Sergio's
the
in the
house.
house. What's up, Serge?
It's either
How you
Surge
doing,
or
buddy?
L, but I think it's Surge. I'm not sure. Never know who's running that account.
They both be crazy. Oh shoot, and Juan, what is up, man? It's good to
One.
see you too, buddy.
Yeah. He's driving home from the bar.
Well, be careful, buddy, man.
Yeah.
Should have called an Uber. But yeah, man, it is great to be back. We are going to be joined by the great Adriean Koleric. He is having testicle difficulties. He will be joining us shortly, though. Hopefully, he'll have them worked out, and we are going to have a very, very cool episode today.
The hair, I brought back the hair from when we did our first episode, so I figured we've been off for a while, coming back. So I still had some dye left from then, so had my hair done for the big return.
You always make a beautiful treasure troll, man. That's what the hair reminds me of, dude. You look like one of them old troll dolls, a little bit. You look like a grizzled troll doll.
Oh man, you should see the looks I get. It's like I live in the country with a bunch of like fucking square people, so I'm fucking walking around with pink hair, and like all these old fuckers keep looking at me like I'm like I'm getting pretty old too. I'm an old fucker now, so I mean,
You ain't right, boy.
yeah, they should be like, should be used to it because my generation has turned into a bunch of old fuckers. So I mean, this kind of shit shouldn't really surprise people. I mean, yeah.
Yeah, I mean, we should all have tattoos and colored hair by now. I mean, I'm pretty sure.
Yeah. Well, I mean, old people used to dye their hair weird colors, right? Like
Old ladies, yeah, they used to have
yeah,
pink
old
hair.
ladies, yeah. So yeah. I'll be hanging with the old ladies playing cribbage, We're at this rec center. I mean, there's worse things to do with your time, right? I mean,
make some money playing some bridge, man. Be schooling
fucking right. School them. Fucking $1 at a time, man. $1 at a time. How long does it take to get through a cribbage game? Probably what? Good hour, maybe 2. Fuck, I'll be making $1 or 2 an hour. That's not bad.
You like Twitch streams, I guess. You know what I mean? Like,
I don't know if people would tune in for that fucking live cribbage match with fucking. Nah,
I found out people watch chess on Twitch. I mean, there's like that big thing about like the chess championship getting blown out, and I guess like there's actually big chess streams where they were discussing whether or not like the guy that beat the champion actually had. Are you guys up to snuff on the controversy? Because supposedly the guy that beat the champion cheated. He had anal beads that shook in a certain way that told him whether or not.
I heard about that.
That's like the big news of last week, whether or not some guy had evil anal beads that helped him cheat at chess. Which, wow, man, the world has become a really fun place.
Yeah. I don't get how the anal beads. How is that enhancing? Am I cutting out again?
A little bit. It's a little choppy,
God,
yeah.
Damn it.
Yeah, I don't know what. I don't know. I guess that's magic anal beads,
Well, supposedly, like they're made to so like they vibrate, and supposedly it's supposed to help him know where to move which thing. But like I guess it does it in Morse code or what? I don't know how to explain it, but that's the working theory is how he was able to beat Magnus Carlsen or whatever his name is.
Yeah, it still doesn't sound. I think it's just some kind of kink. I just think it's a kink thing. He's just like gets away with it by saying it's strategy, but. he just gets off playing fucking chess with anal beads up his bum.
But yeah.
Am I the right show?
Well, I hope so because this is you, right? I mean, this right here.
My Wi-Fi's just yeah. There's
Rocking the Trakovi.
Yeah, Adidas had a sale, like a 50% sale, so I grabbed that special there. And there's actually there is a sheet, like a bit of a semi-gloss to it.
Very nice. Yeah, like the nylon rayon type.
It's just yeah, it just beads water. Yeah,
that's cool. So it just runs right off.
Am I clear enough, or am I still rope care?
You're pretty choppy, buddy.
Damn it. Shit.
Yeah.
There's a storm outside.
It's your Trakovi, man. It's your Trakovi books taking up too much space on your computer. I think that's what it is. You got 4 full issues done and loaded on your hard drive, so it's just fucking chewing up.
It's all on the cloud. It's I don't have it. Actually, I don't have a laptop. It's all crap, guys. I don't know why it's doing this.
It gets clear, then all of a sudden, bang! It just starts to go really bad.
That's just life.
Well, I guess what do you have to check in with, Johnny? You're talking about Bam and Glam.
Yeah, Bam and Glam.
Off track with the anal bead conversation.
I got to check that out. Jordan Thomas's trade paperback, Metallic Dynamite, which came out, which was really good. It had a new chapter of Weird Work in it, really cool. That was another thing that I really dug. And besides that, yeah, I guess I've just mostly been watching shows like you. I watched The Bear, which is probably one of the most stressful things I've ever put myself through, but it was entertaining at the same time. I mean, it really reminded me of being at work. You know what I mean? Just like everything was just so tense in that show, but at the same time, it was a good time. I really dug it. And then I guess the other one I really need to shout out is The Sandman on Netflix.
Yeah.
That was just so incredibly cool, and it was just such a perfect adaptation, in my opinion. Like, people go on and on about these other shows, but like, I think Sandman's blown everything else out of the water, at least as far as TV shows go.
Boys, I'm gonna move. See if this thing works here.
Okay. Yeah, so Sandman. I don't know. Did they get any news yet? If it's gotten renewed, canceled, dropped? It's been silent, eh? In that regard.
They said they're going to wait and see how it went, and they haven't said anything yet. But I don't see how they can't renew it, man. Like, because it was one of the most anticipated things that they've ever had, and they took forever to put it out. If they just did such a perfect first season and then drop it, like, I don't know. I'm probably gonna give up on Netflix, man, because like everything else I watch is done. I mean, Lock and Key's done. It ended pretty swell. I guess like after Stranger Things, that's like, and they only got 1 season left of that.
Oh, that's true. House of Nerds show.
Yep.
Yeah.
Friday night, tomorrow night, or not tomorrow night. Next Friday, they're going to have Richard Morgan himself on to talk the shiznits with them about like the new issue, because the Kickstarter drops for issue 5, and it's going to be phenomenal. And I think that Richard's going to be putting a bunch of new people in this issue. So if you weren't in issue 4, I think if you get a hold of him, you might be able to be in issue 5, which could be pretty cool.
Yeah, or butter him up by inviting him on your show if you have a show, or that seems to work. Worked for us.
Yeah, I mean, well, I think we were the first people to have him on a show, right?
Yeah.
And we trailblazing like that.
Yeah, we get them all early. Yeah.
Cobra Kai was pretty good, man. Like, but season 5 kind of really jumped some megalodons. It didn't just jump sharks. Like, especially that last scene with the crease and the jail. I was just like face palming. I'm like, I'm so gonna watch season 6, but man, this is getting cheesy. But whatever, it is Cobra Kai. So
I still haven't watched the new season yet. I still haven't watched
Trailblazing.
Lock and Key either. So I did watch something that Elle and Sergio recommended. What was it? The this
Euphoria?
dude? No, what is it? No, I think it's a Hulu show. The Hugs.
This Fool.
Yeah, that's it.
Oh
I'm almost done. Yeah, I'm almost done that one. Yeah, it's pretty good. It's funny.
Did you get to the episode with the I didn't do all
people?
that stuff. The devil made me do it. Oh, the one with the
I
rich
just finished
people.
the billionaire kink one. I just I just finished the billionaire kink one. That was pretty funny, man. That was hilarious. Yeah. Yeah.
Man.
Yeah.
But yeah, Lock and Key. I'm gonna have to say I'm not gonna give any spoilers. Besides, I mean, if you didn't know that like this was the last season, all I'm gonna say is it ended very well. I was very happy with it. I did not really care too much for season 2. I thought that it drug and it had some really stupid first half. But
Mm.
season 3 was really solid, really fun. Probably the best season of the show. It almost made me sad that it was the last one because it really picked up, and then it was just like, yeah, we're done.
Mhm. Yeah, yeah. Season 2 was very hit and miss. Yeah, but yeah, after you saying season 3 was pretty good after how much you disliked season 2, so I'm looking forward to watching that one. It'll
Yeah, I
probably
was a
have to
little.
go after October because now we're probably watching horror movies and shit coming up for Halloween, so I'll probably get to it eventually after Halloween.
Speaking of October, did you ever watch? I mean, they only did the one season, but did you ever watch the October Faction show that they did based off the Steve Niles comic?
Yes, we watched that. Yeah,
I liked it. I thought it was as good as Lock and Key, but it only got that one season.
yeah. You got canned right after. Yeah, yeah. Pat was disappointed. She was into it, but it got canceled.
Man, this fool was hilarious, man. That was probably.
Mm.
I don't really watch too many comedy shows, but like that one kept me rolling the entire time, man. Like the Austin Powers and the dinosaur costume. And fucking
Yeah.
Sandy says, Sandy
Oh,
tried
I
to prick up my family. Fucking
yeah,
homewrecker.
started watching What We Do in the Shadows as well. It's a third season now, I think. Yeah, we started watching that one when we have like a half an hour to kill. That's our like quick watches. So
What do you think of the new season of Horror Stories? I liked it. I just don't think it's as strong as the first season
no,
was.
it hasn't been so far. I think there's been 4 episodes, right, total so far that dropped.
Yeah, I think the one with the doorbell and then the one that took place like back in the olden times with like the preacher eating the hearts and stuff, like those were the two
Ah,
like strongest episodes, I think.
the milkmaid one. Yeah,
Yeah. I mean that one
yeah,
was nasty though too at the
yeah,
same
yeah.
time.
Pat was like, Pat's like, is it over yet? She was looking away. Is it done?
Yeah, straight up. I'm not even, like the movies that I kind of watch sometimes, and even I was just like, ew, that's so fucking nasty.
It
Ugh.
was pretty nasty. Yeah. Even though they say it tastes sweet and shit, you're like, nah,
Oh, like
can't do
no.
it. That fucking what's it called? Condensed milk looking pussy shit coming out, man. Fuck that.
Uh,
I would not put that shit in my mouth. I don't give a shit how hot the chick is. Yeah,
I mean, I liked what they tried to do with a lot of the episodes, but I honestly don't think
yeah,
it was as strong as the first season. The first season was really good.
yeah. Well, like I've always said, the best part about that show are the intros, because each intro is geared towards the specific episode, which is pretty fucking cool. Like, yeah, it's like little art films, you know. I love it. I love the intros for that show. Mm.
Yeah. Well, the weird thing is like it was a thing that I didn't think I would like about the show, but I liked that a lot of the stuff in the first season tied to the actual main show, whereas
Yeah,
this one like only the first episode had the witches from season
mm,
3, and that was the only thing that tied to the main show.
yeah, yeah,
How about
yeah.
now?
You look and sound pretty good. Like here,
Yeah.
I'm gonna let you talk for about a sentence and a half. Go ahead and wig out for a minute.
I'm going to talk for a sentence and a half, and I'm going to wig out for a minute. Are we good?
Yeah,
Yeah,
you're
pretty
good,
fucking
man.
good, man. Crystal.
My wife's laptop. So,
Ah, there you
yeah.
go.
So
She
there
gets
you
the
go.
good
So
stuff, just like
I know.
just like it should be. That's how the world works.
So
Hey,
obviously I gotta. Yeah.
I get the hand-me-downs when it comes to cell phone.
Oh my
I get
God.
my wife's old phone.
Yeah, I refuse to get a new laptop. I just keep taking it in and just getting them to fix it. So I think I've had this thing for like, I don't know, a decade now.
Mm.
Okay, we're back. I
Fred's
feel
in
good
the
now.
house.
Good.
Fred
Okay.
Word.
Yeah, he's
Well,
gonna have to get on here, man. He's gonna have to come and do an episode with us. We'll have
and
to
now
figure
that
something out.
and now that you are connected, like I wanted to ask you a little bit about something. I'm having you here and not picking your brain a little bit.
Yeah.
The 4 issues, man. How was
Yeah.
that? How was it getting through issues 3 and 4? I mean,
I
like
was telling,
you were posting a lot
yeah,
of really neat stuff about it on Instagram.
yeah, I was telling Joe a little about it before we went on the broadcast, and it's like it's been a really lonely process. Like it's just very like isolated, and it's like you're putting all this time and effort into a story, and you're like, this story is really good, but you can't tell anybody, you can't show anybody, and the only person I'm really in communication with at Scout is just my editor, Andrea. Um, and I talk to him like every 3 months, 4 months when an issue's done, and that's really about it. So yeah, it's good, but it's like we're not going to see it out until July 23, and that's issue 1, and then 3 months later after that will be issue 2, and then I think 4 months later is like issue 3, and then so on. It's like I really want you guys to read 3 and 4 right now, because it's like, well, because you guys obviously read 1 and 2, so you know what it's about.
Yeah.
And 3 and 4, it just completely like it just went somewhere I didn't expect it to go. So when I talked to Andrea after issue 2 was edited, he's like, "Hey, tell me where we're going with the story." So I laid out this story, and it was like quiet on the phone. He's like, "Yeah, I think we're gonna try something different, right?" So he completely shot it down, and then he pointed out in issue 1 there's a Chekhov's gun in issue 1, and he pointed it out. I was like, holy shit. And so yeah, because he pointed out that thing, that little nugget in issue 1, it completely changed the trajectory of the story, and it's actually made it like it's a heavy story. It's really family orientated. It's fucked up. It's sad. It's sad. It's a very, very sad story. And yeah, it's just, yeah, I don't tell you. Yeah.
That's, I mean, you're doing it all yourself, right? That's why you don't interact with anyone except for the editor, really, when it comes to the book. It's not like,
Yeah, I mean, apart from my daughter, like she's in university, and so she's actually the layout editor since the
yeah,
self-published, and she's actually gonna get the credit in the book as well. And so she's basically there to, I'm like, how does this page look? And she'll tell me if it's shit or if it's not, and she'll, kind of tell me move stuff around and that. But in terms of story, yeah, it's just been the editor, and usually it's like I talk to him in the beginning, and then I just do the book, and then I talk to him at the end, and then he just does his whatever. And he's like, his reaction has been like overwhelmingly positive. Just he's just he seems very enthusiastic about it. So like, from where we started to where we are. So god damn, it's a really good story. It is a good story. I reread it. I reread 3 and 4. I'm like, fuck, that's really good.
yeah. You're gonna have to accidentally send it to me too.
Yeah.
I might actually, yeah, you know what? I'll put together the PDFs for 3 and 4, and I'll send you guys a look. 'Cause, I mean, it's you guys, right? So you
Yeah,
guys were
it
there
goes in the
at
vault,
beginning.
man.
Yeah, I mean,
It delete. It's kind of like a Snapchat. As soon as I'm done, it deletes off my device. So
I'll
even if
fucking murder both of you if you put it out.
even even if I get hacked, it gets deleted like right after I'm done. So
well, the one thing I was
Honestly,
tripping about is we're already going to have to wait till the summer next year, and then we're going to have to wait for read issues 1 and 2 again until we get to 3 and see what happens to Trakovi after he gets his
that's
ass
true. Yeah.
totally smashed by.
I know. I'm so sorry. I mean, I added I added 2 new pages in issue 1, and then I
Oh,
just
so
kind
there
of like,
is going to be bonus materials in the new versions. That's cool.
yeah, well, in issue 1, I left issue 2 as is. I did not touch it because like it's still my favorite issue. It's clean, it's fast, it's 20 pages in and out. I don't want to fuck with it. So, but issue 1, when it ended up, it's funny. So I wasn't gonna do anything to it, and then one review site reviewed it out of the blue, like out of the blue, and I'm like, oh, okay. And then he liked it. This guy was very he's very tough on his reviews. Like he does, like he's just, yeah. So he liked it, but there was one character in it that really bothered him, that sort of like came and then disappeared. And I'm like, fuck, and I knew somebody would pick this out at some point, but I thought I would just ignore it. And so it got in my head. So I went back, I added the 2 pages to kind of clean up some story, and
Mm,
Anyway, we're here now, so yeah.
yeah.
Next year,
Awesome.
I'll see you next year.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. We'll circle back to the Blam and Glam because Richard's going to be doing an action figure for his new
Yeah.
Kickstarter.
Did you see that?
Yeah, it's looking pretty good.
Yeah.
Is it the same? Is he using the same guy that did yours?
No, I don't
Okay.
know who it is. Yeah, I think it's somebody
Okay.
over there actually that's doing it. So yeah,
Okay.
I told him I better get one or like fucking that's it between me and him. Like
Yeah. Yeah, I want one too.
oh yeah,
I
I
don't know
love
how many
action figures.
I don't know how many he's gonna make.
I don't know.
Um,
He says he's gonna do a couple of waves, so I don't know what that means. Like I don't
Okay.
know. Like I'm kind of worried he's gonna have like like
He
boxes of
should
like
before the
I
Kickstarter. He should send out feelers to like we'll call ourselves the regulars to see how many of us want one, and
yeah.
then like base that number on you know.
well, from like the launch page that he's got set up, he doesn't have a set thing. So I think he's going to see how many actually get ordered through the Kickstarter and probably order a couple more to like
Yeah.
take to cons or something and sell. Is what I think he'd do. I think he's actually going to do a straight pressing of how many are requested rather than just like, okay, I'm going to do this many for add-ons. Like kind of like what Adrian did.
hmm
Mm,
Yeah. I'm
And
I'm really excited to see that.
mm.
because that's how you did yours, right? You made 20 of them, I believe, or 40 of them, right, Adrian?
I made 20 and then I just like offered 20 spots and that's it. And so if you missed out, you missed out.
Well, I mean, until it becomes the biggest book and like it breaks Scout's sight, and they got to make more, and you got a whole line. You got React knocking at your door, being like, "Can we please have the mold to the Trakovi figure? Like, we got to sell them,"
I have
which
no
is
idea
gonna
how
happen.
this. Yeah, I don't know. Honestly, who fucking knows? I don't know. Maybe like it'll be the three of us. We'll go to like the movie premiere, doing blow in the back of the limo, right? And we'll be sitting there going, "Can you believe we're here? Oh my god!" Right?
Maybe you never know. We'll
Dare to
see.
dream. Dare to
Yeah,
dream.
yeah.
So actually, I did.
Well, didn't Mullet Cup get picked up for an animated series?
Yeah, so Molotov got picked up by a screenwriter who I can't remember what work he did with. I saw some stuff with Adult Swim, I think. So they're putting together a screenplay, and I think they're going to take that and they're going to just try to like to shop it.
Mm,
Yeah,
cool.
so I love Molotov. I really do.
Yeah.
Big fan. Big fan. So I did contact Scout though, the higher ups, because I'm gonna do 4 new figures to
Okay.
coincide with the book for next year. So I'll do like a new Trakovi, I'll do a Wendy, I'll do a Sing, and I'll do a probably a Boris the Mit character. So,
Will
but I'm just
that
trying to.
be like a Kickstarter on its own? Are you going to kickstart it, or have you even gotten that far into the process?
I'm waiting to hear back from them to find out
Okay.
how it goes, because like in like the contract, there's a little bit of merchandise, right? So it's like, where I take on some of the costs, they take on some of the costs, and depending on how much we put in, the profits kind of change in that.
Okay. Yeah. Yeah. It'll
Oh
be okay.
yeah, so I gotta
Based
wait
on
for
the
that.
investment.
Yeah, so I gotta wait for them. Like they're at New York Comic Con this week, so I mean they're busy. So you know, who am I?
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah, so I got time. I got time.
Well,
I mean,
let's.
how much they've taken off and how much of the comic book world that they own. Like, I'm surprised that like they're not getting offers for stuff like Gut Ghost or Metal Shark Bro to get animated series, because those are both wonderful and those would both be really killer on, like, I don't know, Netflix or Hulu or something like that as original animated things. Like,
It's getting there with them. Like they have sold some property, and there is interest there. You know, I mean, Commander Rao got nominated for Ringo.
yeah,
A few weeks
good
ago.
for
That's
Fellhound too. Yeah, Fell's
she,
awesome.
yeah, she's great. So I'm kind of excited for her. So yeah, I mean, it's just that they're slowly getting there. Like they're trying to figure stuff out, and I'm kind of hoping they eventually I want to talk to them. Like I want them to do like more crossovers, from one title to another, because it'd be kind of cool, like for an independent to kind of build up like a bit of a universe on their own. because they got so many titles underneath their belt. So, but I don't know how that would work though in terms of like paying out creators and stuff like that. I think that might be a bit of an issue there, but they're getting there.
I mean, the Electric Caravan or whatever it's called, like the kind of evil side of it. I know that like they're that whole thing's pretty connected, but I don't know about like the main Scout because that's almost like Image where every book's on its own. They'd have to do like some kind of Donny Cates crossover type thing to kind of do a big crossover with it. Maybe you could be the Donny Cates of Scout though, Adrian. Maybe you pitch that to him.
You never know. You never know. I mean, honestly, everything depends on how this thing goes, right? I mean, this could be like one and done and whatever, and then or it could do well. I don't know. I just
Cartoon Network should do damn Metal Shark, bro. I'd watch the hell out of that, man.
Yeah.
Okay, quick shout out to Mel, who's in the house. Goose, who you just posted, talking about Metal Shark. Goose is in the house. He's in the chats. So
is that supposed to be on the show? But like, I guess he can't. He's too cool.
Well, he just picked up a stray, man. Someone dropped off. What did he call it?
A bait dog.
A bait dog. Yeah, bait dog.
Rawlings at the end. He gave him the name Rawlings, didn't he?
Oh,
Rawlings?
I don't know. I
gave him a name.
See, I had to put together the intro, so I got off social media because you know how that goes.
Yeah, good for him though. Good for him. I hope he just holds on to that dog and just I'm looking forward to seeing that dog get all chubby. Rollins, yeah. Rollins.
Those assholes couldn't have dropped it off at a better place because knowing Goose, he's gonna fucking
look at this turd burglar.
That dog. Yeah, look at that, man. Fulci, what the hell? Ban him from the chats, man. Just fucking delete, ban him, block him, block his ass from the chats. All right, so are we ready to get on to the subject that we're going to be talking about for this episode? The actual theme, for tonight.
You want to launch us into it, there, buddy?
Sure. I was actually watching a lot of music documentaries while we were on hiatus, and I was watching Salad Days, and then I saw that Steve Niles was part of Grey Matter back in the DC hardcore punk days. And then boom, I was like, fuck. And there's a lot of musicians that transition into comic books and have been extremely successful. So I was like, man, we got to do an episode on like musicians that also make comics. And boom. So our first episode back, that's what it is, man. We're going to be talking about some musicians, not all. I'm sure a lot of you guys in the chats probably have your favorites and you could let us know. So we're going to be talking about musicians that also make comics. So I don't know, who do you guys want to start with?
I got notes. I mean,
yeah. I know you guys both have one in particular.
Yeah,
and he's probably the biggest name is Gerard Way.
Yeah, I can let Johnny do that one. So
yeah. So he's from My Chemical Romance. I'm sure most people know who they are. So yeah. So Johnny, you said you were going to talk about Gerard Way. What do you have to say about Gerard Way?
This is a subject I never really kind of meant to broach just because of it's a little tricky for me because I was never a fan of his music per se, and it kind of took me a little while to actually pick up his books. I had a homie, his name is Chase. He goes by Star Hustler on Twitter. You guys might know him. He's pretty popular. He's a cool little kid. He talked me into getting the first Killjoys book, and I read it, and I was just like, oh my god, it reminded me so much of a movie I love called Phantom of the Paradise, and like it just blew me away, and I'm like, wow, I did not expect to love this book the way I did. And then I got the first two Umbrella Academy books, and it just killed my brain just how good this kid was at writing comics. And I'm just like, I had to give the devil his due, and I have really, really become a huge fan of his to the point where I read all of the Young Animal books that he put out. And Joe can attest to this. I hate Big Two event books. Gerard Way wrote the only Big Two event book I've ever liked, which is Milk Wars, which is the big Justice League Doom Patrol crossover. It's also had Mother Panic and Cave Carson and all the other young animal characters, but he makes stuff so much fun. You would say his work is slightly derivative of Grant Morrison's, but I think that he took the
Mm.
foundation that Grant built, but he's made it more fun. Like his books are just a complete blast, and even when they get a little touchy feely or a little brutal and messed up, they're still just a total blast. Like if you read, especially Killjoys, that's probably his most hard-hitting series, and some parts of it will really kick you in the stomach. But even when you're there, you're just like just so invested in it. And um, but Umbrella Academy would probably have to be my favorite of his books. And I love the TV show, I really do. But I think the comic book buries it in all meanings of the word because the comic book just it's got this energy, man, and it just keeps you so entranced. I don't know if you guys have read it or not, but it just I don't know. It's just completely um it's like a Doom Patrol type situation, but
Mhm.
it's more lighthearted and it's more articulated. It really kind of yeah.
I'm just Sergio posted something about Rob Zombie doing a comic book, and yeah, he did.
He did.
With co-wrote it with Steve Niles, I believe, right?
Yeah, he's done a few. He did Spook
Yeah.
Show International, he did The
Mhm.
Nail, he
The
did
Nail. That's the one I was thinking of. The Nail. I thought it was
yeah, the one
Bisley.
about the wrestler that kills all
Yeah,
this.
yeah.
Yeah,
It looked like
Bisley did the
Bisley did the
covers for it.
covers. Yeah, that's it. Yeah, yeah. So I was just and Goose mentioned Buzzkill was the drummer from the Toadies who co-wrote that with Donny Cates. So I just wanted to touch on people that are bringing up other other people we probably won't be discussing during the episode. So sorry to interrupt. I just wanted to get that in there before the fucking chats went up and I couldn't see it anymore.
No, it's cool. I'm gonna go ahead and let Adrian kind of take over because he wanted to talk about Gerard Way too.
I was, you know, it's funny. It's like you, honestly, God, I've never really given much thought of like musicians doing comics, right? Obviously knew about Gerard Way, but so I started like researching. All since like apparently Billy Ray Cyrus did a book.
Oh shit!
I'm just like, it's like what?
Oh yeah.
Yeah, I
What
just
was it? What's it called? What was it about?
Achy breaky heart, man.
I just shut it off. God damn it. You know who we could mention too before I get to my main one? Keanu Reeves,
Yeah,
Dog Star,
Yeah,
right? Everyone forgets
yeah,
that he
yeah,
was a
yeah.
whatever. I don't know if it really counts, right? My daughter's like, that doesn't count.
I
Doesn't
don't think
count.
it counts either. I'm on board with your
They're
daughter
not
there.
touring now. Yeah.
Yeah.
So anyway, yeah. So it's interesting when you brought up this topic, right? Because I didn't really have anybody in mind, right? So I did the Google search and CBR had a list of like all these whatever, like Daryl McDaniels from Run DMC, who's like a
Yep.
big
Yeah,
collector.
he
So
did. Yeah.
Tom Morello from Rage Against the Machine, and then I saw like Courtney Taylor from the Dandy Warhols. And so I'm a massive Danny Warhols fan. I love that band to death. I saw them here and they were terrible. Worst fucking concert I've been to. The sound was awful. Everything was awful, but I didn't care. I got the shirt. I still have the shirt. I think it's like 20 years later and all that. So anyway, so he did a book with Jim Rugg called One Model Nation. So I can't find this book anywhere in town. So I had no idea about this book. So he did this back November 2009 with Dark Horse, and so I found it on Amazon for like $5. I mean, it's just so I should get it next week and I'll do the full read. It's like 160 pages.
it's
Yeah.
really
So it's
good.
is it good?
I
Okay.
have the hardcover. I reread it last night because you said you wanted to talk about it.
Yeah.
It's probably the most realistic and grounded book out of any
Mhm.
of the musicians I've seen. It's very cinematic. It's really cool. It's basically about like this noise rock band
Mhm.
in Germany in the 70s, and basically
Ooh.
they get mistaken for this terrorist group, and it's basically about them having to deal with this really chaotic time in Berlin in the
Mhm.
70s. And I like it. I think it's really great, and it's probably got some of Jim Rugg's most stylized art. It's not quite like Street Angel or any of the other work of his I've seen, so it's definitely a treat if you like his art too.
It's
So
like an earlier, like it feels like an earlier form of work, I guess, like for him compared to now. It just like someone, it just it feels like just older work, right? Um, like the
Yeah, it
artwork
looks
from
like
him.
it looks like he was a little bit taken by Mike Allred, like most indie artists are.
Yeah.
His art kind of really resembles Mike's in this, but yeah, I would say because I think that he did do this before even Street Angel, because on the back of it he's only credited with a book called The Guild, which I'm
Okay.
not even familiar with.
So yeah, so One Model Nation. Yeah, that's the name of the fictional band, and basically it was like they took a lot of inspiration from Kraftwerk and Krautrock, and it was almost like and they actually made an album under that band name. So they went like a step further. They basically did it. They pulled the Gorillas. That's really what they did, right? So they fabricated this the late '60s, '70s krautrock band. Did a full album, which I spun it like on repeat all day today at work, and it's really good. It's very good. Um, and they had a website going, and they're trying to kind of play up this whole whatever. But it was originally a screenplay. So I guess he spent like 8 years putting together the screenplay, and that was his intent to to sell it off, and then hopefully it'll turn into an animated or whatever. And they just kind of one day decided just to do a comic. And so it was interesting. So he had someone named Donovan Leitch work on it as well. And it's funny. It's like Courtney Taylor is like the only one kind of like credited as writing it, but Donovan Leitch is like credited as like the historian. So he did like the research for him and that, but it almost sounded like he kind of co-wrote it as well. So it seemed kind of weird, but I'm really excited to read this. Like I just the concept is it's just so neat. Like I just like, but I'm like Johnny, is it like a heavy read? Is it like that's a lot of pages to?
That's
No,
a that's a
it only took me about maybe an hour at most to read it. And it's like a film
it's
on
like a
paper, though. It's like
Yeah,
it makes sense that it was a screenplay first because, like I said, it's a very cinematic book. It
yeah,
reads like a film. So,
but
um,
160 pages. That's like a pretty much what, a 6-issue trade about
yeah,
yeah.
it's about the same size as
a
uh,
trade.
yeah, a trade about
A lot, one of the
6 to 7
larger
issues.
trades. Yeah, that's it. Yeah.
So the pace is pretty good.
Yeah, it's got. I wouldn't say it's dialogue heavy. Like,
Yeah.
there's a lot of
Action.
shots where like they'll be playing a gig and stuff, and it's mostly like images. So like
Okay.
there's quite a few break parts of the book where it's very wordless. So you breeze right through it. Like I think my reread of Killjoys was longer than my reread of One Model Nation like yesterday.
Yeah, the one common theme that I read a bunch of reviews on it, and the one thing that came up a lot with that book is how the reviewers, like, none of them, like, they all complained about not really like having an attachment to the band. So whatever they went through, they weren't as invested in, they weren't as emotionally rocked by it or whatever. So I don't know, how'd you feel? Like, did you connect to the main characters, or just kind of felt numb at the end?
I think I really like the history of the book, to tell you the truth. Like the
Hmm.
characters are pretty typical for like a rock and roll story type thing. It
Yeah,
was not much different than what you'd get from your typical biopic. You know what I mean? But
yeah,
I really liked. I don't know too much about Germany, and especially about the 70s and about like the whole terror element that was going on at the time. So it was
mhm.
a really neat read for that aspect alone, because I'm a big fan of history and like just learning anything that I didn't know beforehand. So like then the book was full of just stuff like that. So I really, so the historian guy that worked with him, I mean, he really must have helped out quite a bit, because I wouldn't think your average, punker dude from I forget where the Dandy Warhols are from would really be that invested in that time period of German.
Yeah. They're from Portland, Oregon.
Okay.
Yeah. But yeah, I guess when he was working on the screenplay, and then when eventually transitioned to the thought of doing a comic book, he actually, the story was that him and the Courtney Taylor and Donovan Leitch hung out with Gerard Way at a New York Comic Con, just kind of like get some advice from him. And they actually also contacted Keanu Reeves at the time, so Dog Star, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
There you
So
go. You came full circle.
yeah,
7 degrees of Keanu Reeves.
So what do you guys think about that with musicians? Basically almost being literal by putting like like a music theme in the story? Do you find it's kind of like, or or is it, you're getting a different perspective from someone that's actually, that is a musician, or?
I like it a little bit better when they kind of give you a track listing or something to visualize or to listen to while you're visualizing what they're trying to get you through. Like
Yeah.
perfectly to go back to Gerard Way with Killjoys, there's that last My Kim Rowe album, which is accompanied to the comic book. So you listen to that while you read it, and
Mhm.
I wish that more kind of writers would do that. One of Joey's picks, Patrick Kinlone, at least like he will try to give you certain things to listen to when you're reading his works. He did with We Can Never Go Home, and I think he also did with There's Nothing There. So I kind of
Mhm.
like when like they at least give you a track list of stuff that like might help you understand what they're trying to do with their message. But for this, I kind of just imagined Rammstein, what they would have sounded like in the 60s, in the 70s, you know what I mean,
Mhm.
type of
Yeah.
thing. I didn't really go with Kraftwerk because they got guitars and like a singer and stuff, and Kraftwerk was just basically original techno, like.
Yeah. But if if you listen to like just listen to the album that they put together, it sounds like Kraftwerk. It sounds like Kraftwerk. It's
Okay.
yeah, so they did, but it also sounds like Dandy Warhol's too, which is kind of weird. But yeah, I love that. I love when they go multimedia on a story like that, so I'm looking forward to it. Should be here next week.
And you mentioned the Gorillas, like how they were like pulling off, and I think most people that read comics kind of know that the Gorillas is deeply rooted in comics because
The Hewlett.
Jamie,
Yeah.
Jamie Hewlett is the one who designed all the look for the characters and everything, who is the co-creator of Tank Girl.
Mhm.
So I mean, maybe younger readers don't know that as much, but for
And they do have
anyone
comics too. Z2
Yeah.
so
Comics has put
anyone
out
who
a
didn't
couple.
know,
Yeah.
that's deeply rooted into the comics as well, right? Because
Also,
it came
too,
from yeah.
little known fact, Joe might know this too. There was a Canadian band that did Gorillas before Gorillas did Gorillas. Remember Prozac?
Prozac is.
Prozac.
I've heard that. Yeah, I've heard. Yeah, yeah, yeah,
PROZZAK or something.
yeah,
So
yeah.
Prozac was a duo, and and so yeah, so their videos was basically always an animated of them, and same kind of deal. They had their fake persona, and yeah. So I remember when Gorillas came around, I'm like, it's fucking Prozac, right? And of course, no one's gonna know Prozac, right? Unless you're like, well, I was gonna say from Canada, but yeah, thanks, Joe.
Well, I know a couple of their songs, not by heart, but if I heard them, I'd be like, yeah.
Oh, you know it. You know it. It's okay, buddy. It's okay.
Yeah. Yeah. But yeah, I'd like to touch back on Gerard Way a little bit because, not unlike Johnny, I wasn't really into My Chemical Romance like at all. Like I'm not a big fan of the band,
Yeah,
but
same.
it didn't stop me from really enjoying his comic work, which is fantastic. So I mean, one doesn't really correlate to the other. I think the only thing that maybe at times correlates is creativity, right? How creative are these people? And it's just another medium that they can express themselves. And maybe he can express himself in a different way that maybe he couldn't with his band. And he's done very well for himself because, like Johnny said, he got given an imprint by DC that he ran, the Young Animals. So that just goes to show the talent and the confidence that this guy projected within the comic industry, that DC, a big two company, actually gave this young guy who was a musician, really, and had maybe Killjoys under his belt at the time, or did he already start Umbrella Academy?
He had done 2 books of Umbrella Academy. He had done Killjoys, and then that's when they gave
Now look at today. Like now you have a show on Netflix based on Umbrella Academy. He's done another arc for Killjoys, National Anthem. Umbrella Academy is still running strong. So I mean he's a pretty big name in comics now. Like
Yes.
Well,
Yeah.
I
the
think
funny thing about him is he was actually trying to be a comic book writer before he was a musician, and that didn't work out for him. And he went into music, and like so, it was a kind of a neat circle for him to like kind of get back to doing what he originally wanted to do, which I think is kind of a neat story.
like, and the band is itself is incredibly successful, has a huge following. But would you say his comic career has been more successful than his rock career? Or I
No,
myself personally,
No.
because I'm not really into My Chemical Romance, so I would almost say, like, I think his comics career is probably equal to what he's done with his band. But
I
you
don't know,
know,
dude. I
I
don't see
don't.
him I don't see him reading comics to like a stadium full of 30,000 people.
yeah,
Yeah, but I mean, how many people watch Umbrella Academy on Netflix, right? So
not as many people to go and see his show and listen to him, man. Like his,
yeah,
at
Yeah.
least in the heyday, like when Black Parade came out, they were the hugest band. I mean,
Yeah.
and I love his comics. I would like to say like his comic career was better than his musical career, but I just can't. Like,
Yeah. I think in terms of longevity, like, you know, as
yeah,
like the
yeah,
comic career will carry him into his like, you know, into his older whatever years. Whereas like musicians, like you get to a point where it's like no one's gonna care anymore except for like a, you know, small group of fans, and then you just become you know, your tours are basically victory laps. You're doing anthems at that
yeah.
point, right? So but yeah, good for him though. Good for
well, he's
him.
kind of already there with his music career because like Mike Kim
Yeah.
Rowe's been back together for a couple of years, but they haven't put out a new album. They just tour, which
Yeah,
is
well,
kind of weird.
he had a solo album there too, which is really good. I can't remember the goddamn name. Something Alien. God damn it, I can't remember. It was really good. So good, I forget the name. But yeah.
There you go. Memorable. Maybe that was the name of the album.
I'm gonna find a smart ass. Give me a sec. God, you know,
That's all right. That's all right. I didn't. So, but yeah, man. Like, I don't know. I just it didn't even hit me right away when I was like, because I wasn't into My Chemical Romance, and I was reading his comics, and I was like, after a while, it hit me after. I was like, oh shit, this is the dude that sings for that did what was that album with the big song there, the Parade?
I'm not
Parade.
okay. Oh yeah, well actually the first album that was really big was Three Cheers for Sweet Revenge with the I'm Not Okay song and then that
Yeah,
Helena
yeah.
song.
Then they came out with that concept album, right? The
Black Parade,
Black
yeah.
Black Parade.
yeah,
That's
yeah.
it. Yeah, yeah,
Where they're kind of like the satanic Sergeant Pepper type thing going on with that one.
yeah. That's right, with the outfits and all that shit. Yeah,
Hesitant Alien. That's the name. Came out in 2014.
there you go.
Now, circling back to who you originally brought up, Joey. Now, Steve Niles, I would say probably his comic career has definitely eclipsed his musical career. Whereas,
Definitely.
I did not know he was in a punk band until you brought this up, which is funny because I have read Steve Niles since he was doing comics, ever since 30 Days a Night and Wake the Dead and all that stuff that he originally put out for IDW. And I always thought it was weird because he started Black Mass Comics with Mike Pizzolo and Brett Gurewitz, which both have a big footing in punk rock culture. So I was always wondering, like, how did Steve Niles get involved with those guys? And you know, it just fit all the pieces of the puzzle together.
Yeah.
And
Yeah. When I was watching the Salad Days, I was like, "Fuck, Steve Niles." I had no idea he was part of the whole DC hardcore scene. He was right there in the beginning, like with Minor Threat, when they started to transition, and then Fugazi came out. He was there when Minor Threat and all that. They put out like Gray Matter has what 3 or 4 albums.
yeah,
And
they're pretty
he actually-
pretty big.
Yeah. So I was watching that and I was like, "Fuck." And I was like, maybe it's just another dude with the same name. So I went and fucking started Googling and shit, and fuck no. Then they were starting to interview, and I was like, oh, fuck, that's him. That's really him. And I was like, I was so surprised. So, yeah. And, like, that's another guy. Like you said, his comics career has definitely eclipsed his music career, which was probably lasted, what? Like, over 5 years, I think he played music, probably, like, professional. Well, I guess you could call it professionally, but
he had 5 full albums, probably a bunch of EPs. I'd say probably somewhere between 8 to 9 years, maybe with that amount of
put
output.
They broke up in '86 and reformed in '90, and they went till
Yeah.
'93.
Yeah.
So, yeah.
Yeah.
In and out.
And like, when did he put out 30 Days of Night? That was like his big book that he got the movie
That
and
was
everything.
like
That was really shortly after.
2001, 2000, 2001, somewhere around there.
Yeah. Yeah. So then he transitioned. It didn't take him too long to transition into comics from playing music. You know, so, and that's another huge name, like, because he got a comic turned into a movie, and you know what that does for someone's comic career. It just catapults them into the spotlight, and then
Not just
boom.
a movie, probably one of the best comic book movies ever, man. Like the first 30
Yeah.
Days of Night movie is stellar. The second one's
It is. It is.
okay, but the
Yeah.
first one is really good.
Wait. There's a
I
second
almost
one?
forgot. Yeah, I almost
Yeah, they
forgot.
they did a movie for Darker Days. It's actually an
What?
all right adaptation of the second arc, but
It's
the
not
first
bad.
one's so much better.
Okay.
Yeah.
Well, fuck, I gotta go out more.
And then, yeah, I mean, he also wrote Batman. I mean, like he's put out books for almost like every label I could think of. So like
Big
Niles is
Two, yeah, like Dark Horse, IDW. He's worked. Well, he's been at it for a while, right? He's like the Stephen King of comics. Fuck, of the
yeah,
comics.
he's the horror king of
He's
comics in my opinion.
fucking
Yeah,
right. He is. He's been at it forever. He's got a good track record. He produces a ton of content. And he's collaborated with a lot of people. He's done his own shit. I mean, dude is
and I can't even think of a book of his that I've read that I think was meh. You know what I mean? Like he's written
Yeah.
my favorite DC comic. I love Simon Dark. That's like my favorite DC book ever. So
yeah. Is that already been re-released by Clover Press?
what, Simon Dark?
Yeah, they're gonna re-release it. I think as a hardcover. Clover
Oh,
Press.
sweet.
Yeah.
No,
Yeah.
I just have the old trades from when it
Yeah.
ran.
Simon Dark. I'm looking that up too. God.
Yeah,
Shit,
we
these
already
are really
touched.
nice covers. Whew.
Yep.
Yeah, we touched on that, Goose. Yeah, we did. We do consider that. Yeah, we would agree.
The Hue, yeah, man. Classic. Which kind of brings into another thing that me and Joey are going to talk about like how 90s comics don't suck. And Jamie Hewlett was
Yeah.
probably one of the big spearhead guys of the 90s comic movement.
Yeah, we're gonna, because everyone likes to shit on the '90s and '90s comics in particular. But I mean, if you're reading big two superhero shit, for sure, probably '90s weren't the best. But fuck, indies were rocking in the '90s. So you're just reading the wrong fucking books, my friends. Wrong fucking books. Yeah.
I got back into the Badger recently. Remember the Badger from the '80s?
The Badger.
First issue comics? No?
Oh, it was a first comic? Yeah, I don't know it, but like I think I've seen the covers. Is it good?
Yeah. It's quick. It's you know, kind of like the anti-hero kind of whatever vibe to it. Artwork's great. It's just yeah, it's a good in and out indie. Good costume too. Good costume.
Well, we'll have to have you back when we do the '90s
There you
episode.
go. Martial law. That's what.
I just picked those up recently off eBay to read. I got that. That was my birthday present to myself.
Yeah, apparently it was when the boys came out. There was like a little contingency that was kind of like, you know, saying that they ripped off martial law.
Okay.
And I think the creators actually did comment that there was like an influence from martial law. So
Wasn't Alan Grant or one of them British guys, didn't they do martial law anyways? So I wouldn't be surprised if Innes did, because like
it was Sam. Oh shit, what's his name? That wrote it. Sam. Is it Sam Mills? Is that his name?
Pat Mills.
Pat Mills. That's it. He's the one
Okay,
who wrote it,
then definitely Garth Ennis, because dude, Garth Ennis wouldn't have a job if it wasn't for Pat Mills. Pat Mills runs 2080 magazine.
Yeah. He was a big part of that. Yeah.
He's the god of British comics. You know what I mean?
Yeah,
So like
yeah.
he helped create Judge Dredd and the ABC Warbots and like all those characters, man.
Yeah, Pat Mills is the author
Pat Mills,
of Martial Law. Yeah. So
Yeah, definitely. And Garth wouldn't be afraid to admit that, like, yeah, he borrowed from Pat because he wouldn't have a career if it wasn't for that man.
Kayfabe did a pretty good interview with him. If anyone's interested in going to check it out.
And Pat Mills is the shit, man.
He is a really fun guy, man. Like from the interview, he looks like a great guy just to go down and sit in a pub and just have a pint with. Looks like one of those types of dudes. All right, so who do you guys want to talk about? What do we have left? We just have my other one left? Is that it? Oh, no, we have two. We have...
Yeah, Claudio Sanchez, the singer guitar player of Coheed and Cambria. He is best known for his work at Boom. He did Armory Wars. He did a book called Kill Audio, which basically stars himself, which is a really fun book. But I mostly like a little short romp he did called Translucid, which is this really neat book. It kind of takes on the whole kind of war between Batman and Joker type thing, but it's a very much more emotional. It's grounded into this one event. It's basically based off of their last fight with each other and how that plays out, set to the flashback of how the character, the Navigator, who's basically the Batman, how he kind of became the hero that he is, and just this really kind of dark fate that waits for both of the characters. And it's done in this kind of very, once again, Grant Morrison-esque style, but at the same time, it's one of these books that just really kicks you right in the butthole and really makes you think hard. I mean, I really, really love Translucid. It's and Claudio Sanchez is another person who's I didn't really Coheed and Cambria I like a bit, but they weren't one of my favorite bands. But when I saw that he was doing comics, I really checked him out, and I gotta say I really, really liked it. And I've kind of had this type of thing with a lot of musicians that I didn't quite care for. Like Adrian brought up earlier, Tom Morello. I am not a Rage Against the Machine fan, but I absolutely loved his comic book Orchid, which is just incredible. Really, really good post-apocalyptic story about this prostitute who becomes a freedom fighter and takes out the man. It is just a complete blast. Once again, quite Grant Morrison-esque. I don't know what musicians have such a bond with Grant Morrison for, but like it seems that like they really kind of grasp onto that style. But yeah, and Claudio Sanchez, I have not read his book Armory Wars, which is his longest running series. I've been told that it is masterful, though. I really should check it out, but I really, really love Translucid.
Why do musicians always go dystopian?
Well, I think because a lot of the ones that we check out are on the punkier side of things, and that's just kind of where the music kind of is. You know what I mean? A lot of it is.
Yeah.
Like emo punk, yeah. Emo hardcore, yeah.
Yeah.
Talk about their feelings and how everything's pointless and futile, and you know, no matter how hard you try, you know, it all goes to shit in the end.
It all comes back to the angst.
Yeah.
I mean, well, Steve Niles, I mean, I can't really think of too many of his books that go completely into the world, but like I guess they kind of are all really gorific. I don't know. Mystery Society is kind of just a really fun book that's just about like a group of people that it's more of along like the Hellboy side of things, where it's more of like an adventure comic than horror. So I guess he kind of branched out a little bit from that.
Yeah. He did. What's the one came out a couple years ago? Is it Possessed? It's kind of like a, if I remember correctly, it takes place like during the Holocaust or something like that. And it's anyway, that one was kind of interesting too. That one was a good one.
And that the TKO book he did about the Sin City werewolf comic. It was like a Sin City book, but about with the werewolf secret private detective. That was a pretty fun, goofy little book.
I haven't read it, but it's everyone likes it that's read it, so that's one that I definitely have on my list. I have to check out.
Tyrese Gibson did a book.
Yeah, I forget what it was called.
Mayhem.
12 Gauge Comics put it right. Yeah.
Yeah, Mayhem, 3-issue comic about a vigilante who steals from criminals to fund his war against crime.
Yeah, Danzig. Yeah, there's another one.
Danzig's porno comics.
Yeah, I think that's one of the exceptions where I enjoy his music more than his comics.
You know what? I want Danzig to I want him to come out with a book where he talks about getting punched out by the guitarist from Poison. I want that one. I want that story. You know. It is a true story. True story, by the way. True story.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That would make a pretty cool comic, though.
Right? Yeah. Glenn Danzig.
Yeah.
Well,
Then you
I guess-
have like.
I guess his logo, like the crazy skull thing, that's actually taken from like this Marvel comic that was based off a toy line called Crystar. You know, like so that's kind of a really weird origin story for like such a like dark looking logo. It's like he took it from some goofy ass Marvel book.
Yeah. Then you have what you talk about, like then Kiss with their gimmicky fucking they put blood in the ink or whatever when they came out with their fucking comic back in what is it, in the 70s or some shit, or in the early 80s.
Yeah, with the Marvel Comics #1 with the Kiss blood in it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Talk about fucking gimmicks, man. That's a fucking gimmick and a half right there.
God, that's before the insurance companies took over.
Yeah, I wonder what would happen if someone tried to do that today.
Lawsuits. Yeah. Absolutely. Yeah. Well.
I mean, like they only put like a little tiny bit in, and like it just was mixed with the ink. So I doubt that like anybody that actually has an issue actually has like any degree of any of their DNA actually in it. But
especially nowadays, who the fuck wants to start throwing their DNA around like that? Oh, loosey goosey, you know.
Ancestry.com. Where you been? Where you been, bro? I got a cousin in Mississippi.
I'll never send shit into Ancestry, man. Never. I'm never
right?
gonna fucking.
Also, some guy that's gonna knock your door. It's like you. What?
Fucking never. They're never gonna get my DNA, man.
A clone
never.
Joe. He's gonna show up with his Ancestry
Fuck that.
shirts, right? Oh man.
Yeah, never. That's what I'm like. It's funny because my uncle, his kids sent they sent in a sample, and I guess come to find out our whole family line now has been branched off because I guess great grandma got she was a wild one.
You can say it, just call her. Say it. Say what she is. Say it.
Hey, I have no problem with it because like I said, then everyone got all worked up in the family and they're like, oh. And I was like, hey, it doesn't change my uncles, it doesn't change my aunts. And
my mom got really into the whole Ancestry.com thing, and she sent it in, and she would like, send me updates, right? She's like, do you know we're Jewish? I'm like, what the fuck are you talking about? So she sends me like the map, and we were like 0.00001 European or some Hungarian Jewish or something. It's so like, I mean, and then we a little bit Italian. So my daughter's like, are we Italian? I'm like, we're not Italian.
If we live in North America, I mean, we're mutts. I mean, we're a mix of
straight up,
shit. I mean,
yeah.
We've been here for a while, mixing it up.
I'm sure I had some relative that had a good time in the Caribbean at some point. You know what I mean? It's like, honestly, nothing would surprise me at this point. Hey, one thing I was going to ask, like with like go back to musicians in comics and that. Do you kind of? I wonder if like if other creators, who've been kind of slogging it out for whatever, how they feel when they have like these like these pseudo celebrities kind of like all of a sudden like boom show up the next day with a book and
Well, you get the two sides. Some love it because it brings exposure.
Yeah.
And others hate it because they feel like they haven't paid their dues. I hear it both. Like you hear it a lot about screenwriters, right?
Mm-hmm.
Screenwriters that start writing comics, and you have the two sides. A lot of people are like, "Oh, fuck them! They're just trying to make comics as a, like to try to sell, like a pitch. Use it as a pitch to sell to studios, right?" And a lot of people bitch about that.
Yeah.
So
yeah.
And then like even with the Kickstarter, some people hate it, and some people say it brings eyes to the platform. So I guess it depends if you're an optimist or a pessimist, right?
Yeah.
That's what it comes down to, man. Like if you're jealous, if you're a jealous type of person, you probably hate it because you'll hate their success because it's just ingrained into you. So it really depends on the personality, I think.
Yeah, I agree with you 100%. I also I like the idea of of somebody getting into the medium that isn't in the medium, so they kind of come in with like a different way of thinking, like a different approach, right, as opposed to like, like I guess the norm. You kind of hope like there's like a bit of a freshness that they bring into it, as opposed to just the kind of rehashed, kind of corporate illustrative kind of book. So that's what I always kind of hope for. I don't care either way. I mean,
Well,
if the book's good.
It happens all the time, though. I remember when I was young and I first got into Vertigo, like everybody was mad because all these kids from England were getting all the press and stuff instead of all these like longtime DC writers that
Yeah.
that supposedly like paid their dues and stuff. And it's like, well, these guys did too, just not in our side of the
Yeah.
pond. Plus, they're writing you guys into the ground. Like if you guys wrote stuff as good as Sandman and Swamp Thing and John Constantine Hellblazer, like
Yeah.
you know what I mean? Like there wouldn't be they wouldn't need to bring these kids over, and it's the same. It's just that that's the way it is. And like I remember for a while there in the early 2000s, there was a big thing where like novelists were coming and getting into comics, and everybody was mad about that. And it's like, well, like they are writers too. You know what I mean? It's not like these guys are just people that self-published on Amazon or anything. These guys are best-selling like detective novelists and shit coming over. And I'm sure like this is probably them thinking they're making easy money, but like Greg Hurwitz and some of them guys wrote some damn good comics, in my opinion, when like they were over here.
Yeah, it's not easy money. It's a lot of work. Like it's a lot of work. So, yeah, yeah, they can't really throw that argument out there.
Hmm. Yeah, man. That's all it is. It's the quality. Put out a quality book, people will read it. That's
Yeah.
bottom line. Who gives a fuck? Like Fulci says, who gives a fuck who makes it? If it's good, then that's all that counts.
Yeah,
Well,
absolutely.
I mean, if people are that excited in the 70s to read a comic book by Kiss, I mean, about Kiss, like, why wouldn't it be just as exciting to see if Kiss wrote a comic book? You know what I mean? Of course, they never did. There's been several comic books about them, but I mean, I don't see why, like, it wouldn't have been okay for them, and it would be some kind of cheap stunt. It would be no more cheap of a stunt than just, like, doing a comic book about Kiss instead of Spider-Man. You know, what the hell is Marvel doing putting Kiss comics out at that point? Might as well just bitch about everything.
Well, people will.
Yeah.
You let them. That's they love social media.
There was a Twitter feud that went on a couple weeks ago. I'm gonna have to. I'll send you guys the names anyway. So this one girl who she's currently doing covers for Marvel, and then she got called out by some guy who's been around since like the early '90s, and he just started going off about how she had to pay her dues and you know what I'm talking about?
Yeah, I saw it briefly, but I didn't pay much. I don't.
Yeah, it spilled over to
get
Facebook.
into that shit. Yeah.
Fuck, dude, this guy was doubling down. Like he would not back down, and his friends are like, all the comments are like, "Bro, you got to get some help, right?" Like it just got to the point where he just like, he might just like, I'm surprised he didn't throw out the, "Don't you know who I am" line, right? It almost got to that point, and this girl was like, she was really taken aback, like, you know what I mean? Because like she thought like she was kind of like, friends with this guy and all that, and this guy, he went completely off the rails, right? And her work was like really good, like it was fantastic, and yeah, it was just kind of it was almost sad to see, it was like a guy kind of holding on to like, the glory days when
the old boys club, as they like to call it in hockey.
Yeah. It's like, oh god, yeah. I feel like I was listening to a Rob Liefeld podcast. It was just, yeah.
I mean, I don't know. I don't know if it's a sweet ass cover. What's the problem? You know what I mean? People are willing to pay for it. I mean, especially if it was a variant cover, I don't see what the point of crying about it is, anyways.
Yeah, I don't know. People got a bitch, right?
Seems to be the way of the world these days.
I don't know. I'm really curious about this Billy Ray Cyrus thing. I'm gonna try to find this. Sorry, I'm like, I've been thinking about it the last like 20 minutes. Like, fucking.
He did a horror comic called The Telltale Achy Breaky Heart.
Yeah, but man, you can diss the guy as much as you want, but you got to respect him from a business standpoint. I mean, this fucking guy went from a one-hit wonder, Achy Breaky Heart, to a smash hit show for his daughter.
Yeah.
That then turned into a fucking quite the music career for his daughter. Like, dude's got his shit together.
This guy came out of nowhere. He looked like a guy who like railroaded bridesmaids at like, some like, hick wedding, right? And he's still here. He's still here, right?
Who says he doesn't?
Oh,
Still,
well, my favorite
still.
role, my favorite thing he ever did was, you guys ever see the David Lynch movie Mulholland Drive, where he's like
Yeah.
the guy that bangs the dude's wife at the beginning?
There you go. So he.
So
And,
yeah,
he's a method actor too, right? Yeah, that's real.
I think David Lynch looked at him the same way Adrian did. You look like somebody that bangs bridesmaids. You want to be in a movie?
He's like, I'll do it for free. I don't care. Here we go. Okay. Billy Ray Cyrus. In the mid-1990s, Marvel launched Marvel Music, a line of comics showcasing a variety of musicians. While some feature biographical content, others place the artist in more fantastic settings, including country music star Billy Ray Cyrus, the Achy Breaky Heart singer, and his band traveled back in time in his comic, where he became a knight and fought a fake dragon. Fuck yes.
Oh shit!
That
Holy
sounds like a winner.
I'm gonna find this. We're gonna find this.
Yeah, we'll do a
And
second.
do like a live reading of like where we page by page and.
Can you imagine like Billy Ray and his band at the time? They're sitting in Marvel offices, right? They're Billy. Yeah. This is what we're thinking. You're gonna go back in time. Yeah, okay. You're gonna fight dragons. Okay, right? And you're gonna become a knight. Okay. Is there a wedding? Right? You know what I mean? I can see him just getting so excited.
Well, yeah, for sure.
Right?
Yeah.
I could just see like Stanley and Jim Shooter and them guys sitting in an office. Oh, what are the kids into these days, Jim? What are they reading? Oh, that Billy Ray Cyrus guy. Yeah, let's get him in here. We'll do a fantastic comic with him where he fights a dragon. Oh man, I would love to be a fly on the wall in the Marvel offices that day, man.
Oh my god.
Man. You think they actually drew in the Achy Breaky dancing into it?
Oh, I bet you he did some kind of line dance with like whatever alien race they came across, right? I bet it's so fantastic. Oh my god! At some point there's probably some like young maiden that was like like pulling out his mullet and going, "Oh, your hair is so from another world or something." It's just
Yeah.
Oh, I bet you so. Oh, I'm gonna find this now. God damn, I'm curious what it's called. Marvel.
Yeah.
Yes, indeed we do, and that actually has to tie into one of Joey's picks that we haven't talked about yet. But yeah, 12 Reasons to Die by RZA, Ghostface Killah, Matthew Rosenberg, and Drug Church's own Patrick Kinlon. Which you want to get into, Joey?
Yeah, man. Like I'm actually gonna go see him play in October. He's on tour with the Bronx, his band Drug Church, along with the Chats and Scal. So it's a pretty solid lineup, and I'm gonna go see them in a show. And so I figured, why not? I've been listening to a lot of Drug Church lately and stuff, so I picked Patrick Kinlon as one of my creators that's also a musician. And he wrote a really good book that we covered a while back that he did. He had Maria Lovett do the art on. There's Nothing There, right? If I'm not mistaken, that's the title.
Yeah, There's Nothing There. Yep.
And that's a really fun read. People should go check that out, or you could go check some of our old episodes where we talk about it. And that's a great fun read. And his more recent work right now that he's working on for Image is a series that just came out last fall called Frontiersmen. And this is a book that he's created to kind of like, not unlike Jeff Lemire's Black Hammer, he's created a world with all these superheroes, and he's releasing different series based on different characters within this world. Like a new series just came out now, Antioch, and it's based in the same world but with different characters, and that just started last month. So that's a new one that's just coming out. You mentioned the one he did with Rosenberg, We Can Never Go Home. He co-wrote that with Matthew Rosenberg. He's got quite a list of comics, more than I thought. Shoplifters Will Be Liquidated. What else? There's the 13 Reasons to Die, like we'd mentioned earlier, and like Serge and Fulci mentioned in the comments. That one he worked on with Ghostface Killah.
And the RZA.
And the RZA, yeah, they're both on that. That's true, yeah. What else has he done? Patience, Conviction, Revenge, Nobody's in Control, Survival Fetish, Run the Dungeon. I think that pretty much covers most of it. Yeah, and man, I dig it. I just started listening to his music not that long ago, and I dig it, man. It's like it's definitely got a 90 vibe to it, like the indie rock hardcore. It definitely has a lot of that vibes to it. And man, it's worth a listen. Like there's a couple really solid albums out. I think they have 4 albums out. I love the first one, Paul Walker. That album's fantastic. And I've been going through their discography, and I got to Hygiene is their most recent release that came out in 2022, and that one's really good. Cheers, really good. I'll have to re-listen to their second album because I listened to it a few times, but it didn't quite catch me. But yeah, their whole catalog, 4 albums, and it's all really solid stuff. If you like the harder kind of post-hardcore type stuff, it's really good stuff.
They just released a record last year, right?
Yeah, Hygiene. Yeah, and they did a cover of the Bosstones. What song was it? I didn't listen to that yet. I know they did a cover, Drug Church, of a Bosstones, Mighty Mighty Bosstones. They did a Mighty
Bosstones. That's cool.
Yeah. Well, his voice is a little bit similar to this, like
to Dickie Barrett's.
A little bit. Yeah, a little bit. There's yeah, I could see how that would work, like a cover to the Bosstones song. Yeah.
Here you go, boys.
What's it called? I can't read the name.
That's the Billy Ray. That's Billy Ray right there. Oh shit!
Look at that fucking beast.
I'm going on eBay after the show.
Holy shit! Actually, this is a photo off eBay too.
Is it?
Yeah, Paulus Newman, Dan Barry. It's just Billy Ray Cyrus. That's all it's called. Billy Ray Cyrus. Fuck, I love it. God damn it. Hey, I love how he just got the wife beater on and the flow.
How much is it going for on eBay?
Oh, that's a great question.
Let's see what Billy Ray's pulling in the comics industry.
It's probably more than like all the Something's Killing the Children's issues put together, man. You're looking at
clearly.
Free.
Jesus. It's a graphic novel. It's a graphic
novel.
$35.69 plus $16.58 shipping.
Okay, so the regular price of a graphic novel. Then.
Yeah. So there you go.
Oh.
Actually, Czarface was another band.
Okay, yeah.
Hip hop band, right? Because like they basically so
they rap about comics a lot, yeah.
And their albums are basically it's a comic cover, right? And they actually did put out a comic. They did collaborations with Doom and
MF Doom, yeah.
They put out some action figures recently. I think they're Super 7. So yeah, so there's another crossover. So I think yeah. So the comics is always integrated with their work, right? So it's always yeah.
But but Patrick Kidlin, man, like that's another person I just read the comics and I was like, oh fuck. I found out he was in a band, so it definitely piqued my interest, and he just happens to play music I actually like. So that's one of the rare ones out of all the group of people. There is the reason why I picked the two is because I like their music too, right? Mm-hmm. Steve Niles and Patrick Kidlin, like they both they're in hardcore bands. So I mean, I tend like, even if their work wasn't great, I'd be like, yeah, it's still good because I love your music, right? I'm pretty sure a lot of people that love Chemical Romance, and maybe don't dig Gerard Way as much, his comic stuff, probably still enjoy it just because.
I can see fans of the band liking Umbrella Academy. Like, there seems to kind of be like that common vibe to it. It's nice when you follow somebody and they move into a new medium and you like what they're doing that way. Because I mean, like as an artist, right? Like, you always want to try something new, right?
Mm.
But the downside with that is, is like having people follow along with you, right? Because you could lose a lot of people by switching gears, So, you spend all this time building an audience.
Yeah.
You know, and not everyone's going to want to follow you, right? They want you to be like this and you want to try this and yeah.
But it's funny because Patrick's got his own podcast called Axe to Grind with I think a few other musicians, and he rarely ever talks about his comics on. Like,
oh yeah.
I rarely see him kind of plugging his other stuff, like his comics on there. He briefly mentions it every now and then. I've listened to a few of the episodes, and it's funny he doesn't. I don't know if it's out of respect for the show, like it's really geared towards music and the hardcore scene, so he doesn't really try to speak about that too much. Or
Well, I mean, they're kind of connected, though. I mean, most punk rockers are nerds of some sort. I mean, almost all the ones I know, like you,
like
you
the
catch them
Ramones.
with that. Yeah, well,
One
I
of
mean,
the
like
one of the
I'm
Ramones was a huge comic fan, so yeah. I mean,
talking about like just fans of the music, because like when you're not putting glue in your hair and stuff, you're watching Star Trek or you're keeping up with what Batman's doing. You won't believe it, but he's fighting the Joker right now. Like, he never does that. But yeah, I mean, comics and punk rock and hardcore, like they go hand in hand. I don't see why he would be a little ashamed, but to each his own, like if I was as bitchin' of a comic book writer as Patrick Kinlan and I had hits like We Can Never Go Home and 12 Reasons to Die and There's Nothing There Under My Belt, I wouldn't shut up about him. But modesty is a virtue, so good on him.
A lot of these guys are modest, right? Like a lot of these punk rockers, like they kind of have that persona on stage, but a lot of these guys are just sweethearts, go about their business.
but there is like in anything, there's always that one subsection of them, like that's not hardcore. This isn't punk because you do it this way or that way.
Yeah.
Then it gets, there's always that group of people that.
It's funny. I remember that too in the 80s, right? In the 90s. So when certain bands kind of like tried different things and.
Or they got too popular, then they're not cool anymore. Like that's the kiss of death for like.
Yeah.
Like especially like in the hardcore scene or punk scene where it's like do it yourself, then you get popular, then it's like, fuck, you're not punk anymore. Or,
that's how it was in my house. Yeah, here in the house, right? Like I'd like a band, and then my wife would start liking them, and I'm like, I don't like those guys anymore. Yeah, it's kind of like, yeah. I used to be into them, but not so much anymore. So yeah. I'm bad for that. I'm really bad for that. There's some bands I'm kind of militant about. I'm like, nope, you're not getting into them.
I used to be like when I was in my 20s, I used to be pretty bad for that. But
would you say though, Joey, that Kinlan's comic career has eclipsed his musical career? I would say it has. I think I'd say he's probably more popular with.
I think it's probably by a hair because Drug Church is starting to pick up, man. They're
popping, but I mean he's writing comics for Image, which is their biggest label.
Because they're starting to get on some pretty big tours and festivals now. So I don't know. I'd say it's almost neck and neck. We'll see how this new book goes for Image. It's off to a great start because Frontiersman sold really well. So yeah, if this keeps up, then definitely his comics career probably will eclipse his music career, maybe.
See a comment there? Does someone actually from the Eurythmics write? Are they writing a book? Is Dave Stewart or?
I would think it would be Dave Stewart. I think it would be the keyboard guy. It would be cool if Annie Leggins did a comic and it'd probably pop off. She'd be huge at Vault or something.
I don't know.
Well, Dave Stewart's a colorist, no?
Different Dave Stewart.
Yeah, it's a very uncommon name.
Hey, you never know. Maybe he just like
I don't know.
What's his name?
When I was a kid, I thought that Ralph Macchio, who was an editor for Marvel Comics, was the same guy that was the Karate Kid, and like they're two completely different people. There's two different Ralph Macchios in the world. Which
I was like, good for him. Hey, by the way, this is I'm sorry, I'm going off topic. Did you guys watch Cobra Kai season 5?
Not yet.
Yeah.
No, not yet.
Yeah, I seen it. Yeah.
Johnny, are you cheering for like the ponytail guy as much as I am?
Who's Silver?
Yeah. Are you seeing any wrong? Has he done anything wrong?
I don't know. I just don't like him because he's swarmy. You know what I mean? He reminds me of Eric Roberts, but even worse. So.
Yeah, he does. Saying a little bit. Yeah.
When he was younger, he reminded me of Steven Seagal. Now that he's old, he reminds me of Eric Roberts, which is weird. I don't know how you can go from looking like one man to another. But yeah, I'm a Johnny Lawrence fan, dude. Like anything Eagle fan, that's what I rep.
Yeah, I've learned to hate Daniel LaRusso throughout this whole series, and so my vision or my memory of Karate Kid 1 to 3 is completely changed now. So I view him as the villain now, and really in all three of them, right? Just this little punk, just can't keep his nose out of other people's business, you know. And I'm just like, he's getting what he's asked for.
Serge agrees.
Sergio
Yeah.
agrees.
Yeah, right. We had this conversation on Twitter as well. Yeah, kid's the
Yeah.
punk. Yeah.
Well, I
So
watched a
that's-
whole breakdown a couple years before they did Cobra Kai, which really made me see Karate Kid in a different light, where they showed like all the different ways that where Daniel LaRusso was like the aggressor, like at the beach where he rushes in and starts fighting Johnny over something that was none of his business. It's none of his business if he was kind of having an argument with his girlfriend. He didn't need to throw sand in his face and stuff.
Yeah.
So
And that's Cobra Kai, right? It's like Lawrence and the guy from Karate Kid 2. They're like, yeah, let's go to Silver's place and punch him up.
yeah. Oh man, when him and Chosen became friends, that was so
Chosen,
funny,
yeah.
man.
And they just walk through his front door and they start beating him up. I'm like, well, this is trespassing. It's assault, right? I mean, it's like 5 misdemeanors that they're doing here. Like, God.
Oh, that's
damn it.
that's what I loved about it is it played by such 80s movies logic at the end. Like it's okay. They took the bad guy down. The cops didn't bust any of them because they didn't do anything wrong at the end. Like Silver was the bad guy.
But I'm like, what do they charge him for? Like,
He lied about beating up Stingray, I guess. That's the big no-no. Like they lied about whatever got that's the biggest thing I can think of. It's like
yeah, I suppose.
They pretty- but-
Whatever. I'm not buying it. Piece of shit show.
That's a show I have to watch on my own because Pat's not digging Karate Kid.
Yeah, dude, it's like, yeah, I don't know, whatever.
this
I think I
season
watched
jumped
Abomination.
Megalodons, but I still want to. I hope that the last. I was hoping this would be the last one, but I hope the next season's the last one because, like, I think they are dragging it a little too long at this point.
Yeah, they're milking this one quite a bit. So they're gonna go fucking 11 seasons. You watch it. There's gonna just Hillary Swank's got to show up at some point, right? You know,
Jaden
so she'll-
Smith, you think?
right? Oh no, Jackie Chan. Oh, this is horrible. Yeah. So I mean, they're gonna. Yeah. This is endless, right? I don't know.
What about
Yeah,
the Will Smith
well-
kid? He's got to show up.
Yeah, that's what Johnny was saying. Yeah.
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 Yeah, that probably
Yeah.
was my favorite part when him and his kid showed up in the FBI shirts and the drug kingpin guy thought that they were the real FBI. Like had the
But they
MMA
got,
guy
like-
try to beat him up.
But they had all the writing in the back of the shirt. That's like,
Mm.
you know, I mean, how? Like, an FBI agent's not going to walk into like a Mexican cockfight with like with a uniform that says, "Hey, we're FBI."
Yes. Well, if they did, they would be all flak jacketed out, and there'd be like 20 of them. You know what I mean? Type
Yeah.
of thing.
Yeah.
Flexing. Yeah.
God. I kind of imagine them sitting around the writers' room and saying, "Yeah, this is good. This is good. Yeah, this is good. Yeah, good job today. You earned it today." Fuck.
It's trash television, man. People love it.
The ratings are there, right? People love it. They're
Yeah.
buying the shirts, right? So yeah.
I really liked it. I mean, it is falling off a little bit. I'm still enjoying it, but I'd say like season 3 was my last one that I was really into.
Is that the one
That's
with the
a
big
pro-
house fight?
That's the last
See-
one where
Where
No,
he
I think-
falls and breaks his spine there. That's where I was like, okay.
Oh, the high
this
school one.
was-
Yeah.
yeah that was
I
season
was
2.
like- After that,
I
I was
think-
like, oh, here we go. Now he's going to be fucking like the whole. I was like, oh, no. I was like, I was digging it right like a lot till then. And I was like, fuck. Now it's going to be like him get, the whole build him back up. And anyway, I was like,
You know, all this is all these franchises trying to chase the Fast and Furious franchise. That's what it is. Even
Yeah.
Marvel is doing that, right? But the whole Tokyo Drift thing, and yeah, they did it right.
Virgin Comics was a really neat thing though. I didn't know that Dave Stewart worked on it, but like I got a couple of like their books and like they had really weird team ups. Like I have one that was it was Nicolas Cage and Mike Carey doing a book called Voodoo Child. Let's see, Andy Diggle and Guy Ritchie teamed up, did the Groundskeeper, I think, or the Gamekeeper, which is a really cool like Russian hitman. Garth Ennis and John Woo did Seven Brothers. There are all kinds of really wild team up books from Virgin Comics, so I wouldn't be surprised. But I didn't know that they had any team ups with the Eurythmics guy. That's cool. Thanks for bringing that back around, Sequential Geek. I appreciate that because we were all pretty interested in that.
Seven Brothers.
Yeah, it was all right. I mean, I expected a lot more from that team up, but like out of all the Virgin books I read, actually my favorite one would be the Guy Ritchie, Andy Diggle book, Gamekeeper. That was pretty cool.
I'm surprised Guy Ritchie doesn't do more books. Just because
Yeah,
his movies kind of like sort of like already have a bit of that comic vibe to it, you know?
same with Robert Rodriguez. I always thought that he
Yeah.
would make some bitch in comic books. He's never done one.
He-
And he actually can draw really good too.
Like, never even did like a Dust Till Dawn comic, or he wasn't involved in anything like that. Nothing came out from that.
Not that I can think of, which
No
is
way.
dumb because like you would think that like Dust Till Dawn would have been killer grounds for a comic book run.
Mm-hmm.
So Johnny, you said you read Gamekeeper?
Yeah,
How was
it
it?
had two
Yeah?
arcs. Yeah,
Yeah,
so
worth to pick up?
yeah, and you could get most of those Virgin books for really cheap. They don't sell for very much at all when you find them.
Okay, cool. I'm just learning today. A lot of learning today.
All right. See you, Sergio. Have a good night.
Yeah, man. Thanks for stopping by. It's great to see you, and yeah, can't wait for your show next week, man.
So, what's next? Did we cover everything?
I could just name drop a bunch of other musicians I know that did comic books that are pretty cool. That I haven't read a lot of them, but like I know that like Fallout Boy, the Pete Wentz guy from that, he did a comic book called Fallout Toys. Neil Young did a comic book with Joshua Dysart called Greendale.
Let's circle back there. He didn't try. He didn't try too hard with the title of that one, did he?
Holy fuck.
Fallout Boy guy calls his comic
Book Fallout
Toys.
Toys.
He
Yeah.
changed one letter in the fucking name of his band, and that's his comic. Like,
He earned it.
okay, probably
He
because he
earned it.
didn't want to get sued by his own band for using the band name in his comic, and he didn't want to have to share the money with them. So he's like, "Oh, I'll just change one letter."
Fuck. Bono writing a book called U3 or something. Come on.
Yeah. Sorry, you can keep going, Johnny. Just
Sorry,
that one
Johnny.
kinda-
Yeah.
Yeah, that one just hit me like a ton of bricks there. The title
Like,
of that one.
I mean, as much as like I kind of like was talking about how I didn't care much for My Kim Rowe, like My Kim Rowe is the greatest band in the world compared to Fallout Boy in my opinion. So yeah, go ahead. I had no interest in Fallout Toys ever. Like I think it only ran one arc anyways, but see, the guy from Slipknot, Corey Taylor, he did a book for Dark Horse called Silver and Cold, I think. And Adrian already named a bunch of the ones I was going to name, like the Tyrese Gibson one, which I thought was pretty neat. He wouldn't be a guy I would associate with comic books too frequently. But yeah, like there's quite a few, and it's a neat idea. I think that there's a lot of poetry and a lot of storytelling and music. So I don't see a big difference between it. And seeing how some of these guys like really kind of and the different styles too, like like the Courtney Taylor book compared to like the other books that we talked tonight. Just the variety. It's neat. You don't expect just one thing from these talents.
Yeah. We had mentioned the DMC label. Dill Makes Comics. Yeah, we touched on that real quick. Yeah, and it's like you said, like before, it's funny. Like Adrian was touching on, like, what do you expect from, let's say, like the Courtney Taylor? He's a musician that's writing a comic about music, so like, I mean, it could be good as long as they're kind of true to the story. It's not like ego driven where they like put themselves like grandiose and like I'm the coolest thing. Like as long as it's kind of honest,
Yeah.
then I mean,
Authenticity, it's huge,
yeah,
right? Like
yeah,
with any story, with any comic, right? There are times you read something and it's like, I don't know, fuck, really? I'm not driving like Billy Ray a night, time traveling. I don't know. I don't know. I don't know. He's not really buying it, right? I think I'd rather see, honestly, like jokes aside, I'd rather see like a Billy Ray, like some kind of like story based, like almost like a True Detective type story, and in Tennessee or Alabama or wherever he's from, and something a little more grittier and a little more grounded. That'd
I would
probably be
something like what was that Vince Vaughn movie, the Brawl in Cell Block 99 type of thing, where he's like some hillbilly badass that gets sent to jail and he's got to beat up like all the bad brooks in his cell block. Like that would be something I'd expect to see Billy Ray and his wife beater and his mullet just flapping as he's like throwing out some dragon punches and shit. Just wow.
right, like an Orange Is the New Black, but like with Billy Ray Cyrus, right? You know?
uh,
Oh man. Well, at least with like Courtney Taylor, like I mean, like he did put in the time, right? Like he, like with researching and discovering what life was like in Germany, because they're still like having like they're still having the after effects like from World War II, right? So so from the articles and interviews I read like this past week, I really respect, like I said, the amount of like effort that they put into throwing this together. Because it seems like from what I gathered, this isn't a story you just kind of like just sit down one Sunday afternoon and kind of throw together,
yeah,
So
like just trying to like a cash grab kind of thing. Like, oh, I'm
yeah,
popular, I'll put my name on it, and maybe we'll make some money. And don't, like you say, don't put the effort, don't do the research, don't like just slap something together for the sake of putting something out to try to make a quick buck.
yeah,
You
yeah.
know, like
Yeah, and I love the concept of it because it's just a story that like the synopsis, it's just something I've never really heard really thrown out there before. It's just a neat idea, it's not just I don't know, some fucking fantasy elfish kind of whatever bullshit story,
Yeah,
right?
it's like a
Yeah.
political thriller set in a very different a time and scenario that we would be used to. Because I mean, like even stories about musicians in the '70s, like we've seen it and heard it, but not
Yeah.
about not about Berlin. Not about what was popping off in Germany at the time. It's
Yeah.
so it didn't really seem
so.
like very self-important or very pretentious, really, in my opinion. I think that like he actually tried to make something very artistic with this, which is pretty neat. Which I would say all of them, all the people we talked about did, but this one, this one is actually kind of what I would say is more of like an award-winning type of thing. Like if it was made into a film, it would probably be considered for stuff like that too, just because of the places the stories go. It's got kind of a hokey ending. I'm not gonna lie, but until that point, it's really a tense book. It's really gripping that about the situation and the scenario with the terrorism and stuff like that. So
Yeah, I find with endings, it's with endings with books and with a series, I don't get my hopes too high up for a good ending anymore, because there's really very rarely a book or a series will finish and the ending is satisfying. There's always going to be something just going to be sticking in your ass, right? That you're not happy about, right? Except for Better Call Saul. God damn. Do you guys watch Better Call Saul?
Yeah,
I've seen the
I
first
watch it.
season.
Yeah, I watch it on Netflix, so
Did you
I
get to
have to
the?
wait. Why
Did you get?
the final season's on Netflix now?
No,
No,
not
so
yet.
I haven't
No.
seen it
Okay.
yet. No. Yeah.
Anyway, so I'm not gonna whatever, but it was funny. It's like I was kind of like I was really worried about how I was gonna do like my ending, um, and after watching Better Call Saul's finale, it was just like a fucking light bulb moment, and just to
Mm.
see how a perfect ending was made, it was just perfect. Like I can't express how well done it was. Like it was just yeah.
And like another ending of a show that I was really impressed with was 6 Feet Under. That
Yeah,
finale
never did
series
watch Six Feet
finale.
Under. Yeah.
That series finale was really good too.
Mm.
Yeah, it's rare that shows stick a good series finale. It's very rare.
Yeah, books too, right? Books.
Yeah.
It's funny. So
Yeah,
there was a book on Scout called It Eats What Feeds It.
Yeah, the little 3-issue one, that was
Yeah.
so good.
Okay, so it's funny. So that came out. I started reading that as soon as the first few issues of Something's Killing Children, came and went, and then so this came out, and it just kind of felt like this was Scout's version of Something's Killing the Children to me. I thought this is something that they could really build on and whatever. I love the first issue, love the second issue, I love the third issue, but the ending just felt off. You know what I mean? The ending just was, it was just like kind of wump, and you're like, oh, it just wasn't, I needed 2 more issues, right, to kind of get to whatever. So anyway, so I got in contact with the author, and I just had some Scout related questions to him, and I asked him about that, and he just ran out of money. He didn't have money to finance 2 more books, right? For the
That's what
artists
I
and all
felt.
that.
That's what I felt too. I thought that it was just like they were stuck in that 3-issue formula, and they just had to make do with what they had.
Oh man, I really wish I would have known him sooner and then do a Kickstarter to get, 4 and 5 done. Because I think if he was given that time, to 5 issues to me is like perfect, right? You really get, I think, you could do it proper. And man, he was like so close to like having like complete brilliance, I thought. Yeah, what a
Well, I
great
love
book.
That's
the
true.
way the book started out. I mean, it was almost like a horror version of the man, what's that movie called with Dustin Hoffman, the the Graduate, with the kind of almost
Yeah,
sexual
yeah,
tension,
yeah, exactly. Yeah,
and
exactly.
and then you get to the basement and you're just like, oh shit, this just jumped the level, and then it's over, and you're like, fuck, man, we're like,
Yeah,
it's just getting good.
That's
I
true.
know.
Scout did have that 3-issue kind of trend in the beginning, early on, because Grit was 3 issues, and then boom,
Grit's another one
Yeah,
nothing,
too.
another one that
nothing.
was just a phenomenal, like one of the best things I read that
Yeah,
year until it just ended. It's just done.
Yeah,
yeah,
and I
and
thought
he was. They were supposed to come out with the second arc, but then the pandemic hit and everything, right? So
yeah,
everything was kind of up in the air,
yeah.
and he was like, oh, he was going to do a Kickstarter, and then now it's on the back burner. I don't know if it's ever going to come out, but
Yeah,
yeah,
and it's not so much Scout. It's really, it is down to the creator, right? Because like, I mean, Scout doesn't finance the creation of a book, right? They're basically a distributor. Um, so it is up to the creator to, basically, pay
Get the
for
get the book made and they'll put it out for you. It's the same kind of deal Image does basically
yeah,
too.
yeah,
Then
yeah.
yeah,
And but the nice thing with that though is like, they're like, you make your book how you want it. We'll edit it, make sure, the I's and T's or whatever and all that, everything's all kind of proper, and, make sure it's put together well enough, right? But, like 90% of it is really on you to, put the story together and produce it and all that. So yeah, it was a real shame with, It Eats What Feeds It and Grit as well. Like both books, like if Scout was a little differently organized, and if they financed some of these books, I mean, those two could have really went for a long time. Like it could have just kept going. I would have stuck. I would have subscribed to both of those in a
yeah.
heartbeat. So yeah, yeah. So whenever you see these books come out, man, just know there's a lot of money behind it, right? When you see like 4 names on that thing, fudge, that's a lot.
Yeah,
Oof, man, oh man, yeah, it's a lot. Yeah, I was sitting down, I was just kind of like figuring out numbers, and I thought, if I fucking hired, a colorist and a letterer and a blah blah blah, like fuck, I'd be like 30, 40 grand in the hole right now,
yeah, yeah.
easily, really. Like it's yeah, so you can see why some of these books just kind of peter out, you know.
Mm.
So I don't know, but maybe they'll get an option one day, and then maybe they'll get some money back, and then story
Can
out. Who
hire,
knows?
yeah. Then they
Yeah.
could, next projects, they could kind of hire some of that stuff out to make it a little, take the load off a little bit.
Yeah, that's the beauty of Kickstarter, though, right? I mean, you cover the cost for 4 pages, for preview, and then just hope that people will help you out the rest of the way.
Yeah.
yeah. You're gonna get paid with exposure, I swear. The greatest words ever muttered.
Yeah, that's oof, yeah, yep.
Yeah, man. That's it. Just come on the Pink Buzz, man, and you'll make it. Make it big. You'll be doing cocaine in the back of a limo eventually.
Well, I mean, honestly, I got picked up after being on the show, so
Yeah.
technically, didn't somebody else get picked up that was on the show,
Don't know.
or was that through Wednesday Night Reviews? No, I thought it was here.
Maybe. I don't
Huh.
know. I can't. I don't remember. My memory's
Tights,
shit.
you guys remember Tights?
Yeah,
Yep.
tights.
Yeah,
Yep.
so Chris, yeah, he's hooking up with lesser known comics.
Yes, you mentioned.
Out of
Also,
LA.
your friend, Samurai.
Oh, Metalhead
Isn't-
Samurai.
Isn't he hooking up with lesser known as well? Mm-hmm.
I think that's his plan.
Okay.
But I think he might try to. I think he wants to shop it around a bit.
Okay.
Because he's doing the reboot and that. So him and I are supposed to be doing something after we're both done our books, and we might actually do it for lesser known comics. So I talked to Mark from lesser known, and so it's one of those things where if we want to do one for him, then we'll do one for him. So so I think we are probably gonna do something. That's probably like next year. We'll start that. But lesser known comics, interesting. Like they're like, man, they're super friendly. So they're based out of Los Angeles, and so the guy running it, Mark, he like I was on the phone for him like a good hour, and he was just the nicest guy, just I think ex-army, and yeah, they're just slowly building it up, right? So yeah, I'm really
So
curious.
is that going to be your spin-off about the DJ from Trakovi that you're going to do for them, or is that a different book you're planning on watching now?
The DJ. I don't have a DJ. Oh, Jamando? No, there wasn't no. I was gonna do a Grad 83.
Grad 83, yeah.
Yeah, so we'll see. I don't know. Like I think there's like potential if I want, I could do another story arc. I just gotta present it just to the scout editor, and then I can probably do another run if I want to, right? So yeah, they're really open. That's one thing too. They said it's like if you got a story and all that, then you have that option to.
Yeah, the door's open.
The door's open, but it's a lot of work, right? So yeah.
Well, you're also thinking of doing a one shot for the grad.
Yeah. So yeah, I was gonna do the one. I was gonna do the four. I was gonna take the book and add 4 pages at the end of each issue of Trakovi, but I find sometimes that can confuse people when you have like a bonus story. It almost seems a little too clunky for a read. So I handed in the script. The script got edited by them, so it's ready to go. I drew a bit of it, so I might actually turn that into like the start of the second Trakovi arc.
Okay.
And then just do that. So I got to present that to them after issue 5, and then I don't know, but hey, we'll be talking about this in the back of the limo by then. So it'll be all good. Yeah.
You could hire that little Asian girl that you met at the Comic-Con to draw it for you.
Right? You never know.
Yeah.
You never know. I'm telling you.
You said she was selling her shit like hotcakes, so
it was embarrassing. It was for me. I was just like, Jesus. Yeah, I was so out of my league. So out of my league. Yeah. Yeah. It's yeah. You get humbled pretty quick. Yeah.
Maybe you should do Prince of anime characters. I'd like to see your take on some of them, some of the popular ones. Like
I don't know. I don't know if I could do it, honestly. So my kid, my daughter's trying to get me into anime, and the manga, the whole thing. So I'm getting there. I bought Chainsaw Man, so I'm kind of flipping through that. And there's the animated shows coming out, I think like next month or something like that.
Oh, that's true. It got they're actually doing the anime for it.
Yeah, the trailer looks fantastic. The animation looks really good. So no, it's great. Like it's honestly like I don't mind that stuff. I just I don't have a heck of a lot of time to read, right? There are times where I'm reading a book. I'm like, why the fuck am I reading somebody else's shit when I got my own shit? You know what I mean? Like you kind of like, you just Oh my god! Like I don't know about you guys, but like my to read file or my list, my stack is just gross. It's disgusting.
I've got 8 short boxes.
Yeah. Honestly, it looks like a scene from Hoarders. I just like, and there are times I just like said, fuck, I put it in the bag and I just like archived it.
Pat's like, you're running out of room in your office. Your office is pretty disorderly. I was like, yeah, it's if I'm not busy this winter with work, maybe I'll start going through it and unloading a lot of that shit. So
I know. My wife's like, so are you gonna like still are you still buying comics? Like, she goes, when's it gonna stop?
Never.
Man, I don't know. I have to go back to just buying, trades.
Yeah, yeah.
That's what I do. I mean, like, cause I used to like to collect and stuff, but it's just lost a lot of the guster, and I just like to read now. I'm into the reading experience, so I just mostly buy trades. That's my thing.
Yeah, and that's one thing I'm so looking forward to, like putting all 5 issues into a trade. Like that's my biggest goal. Like so then like people that would normally not buy the single floppies, right? Like they'll more likely buy the trade and run through that. So
Hey, Manu, how's it going? Yeah. So, yeah. Well,
So is it going to be just the 4 issues, or are you still working on a fifth?
oh 5
yeah,
no it's 5 it's
yeah,
5 issues.
5 issues.
Okay.
Yeah.
So 1 to 4 it's already like it's all edited, it's all done. They're all 4 are done, and so I'm halfway through the script for 5, and I got my ending's done. My beginning's done. It's just the middle part I'm just trying to figure out. So I should start drawing it up here pretty quick, and then
Well, that's
should be
what
done.
that's what a lot of writers. That's the way they do, right? They know how it's going to end, so let's just
Yeah.
fill in the middle, right? And
Yeah, like I
Yeah.
said, the ending was the old Better Call Saul ending. So I'm like, yep. So
yeah,
good to go.
that's awesome.
Can't wait to see it, man.
Yeah.
So what are you guys doing? What's your guys' plans coming up?
Next week, we're actually going to be doing an early episode on Thursday. We have the great John Lees and Joe Mulvey on to talk to us about their new book, The Last Ride of Pillar and Pride. And we're probably also going to be telling John Lees about how beautiful Dig was, because that was seriously probably one of the greatest things I've read in a while.
Nice.
Yeah, it was good.
You
And
said
that,
Thursday?
Yeah.
that's going to be at 4 o'clock Joey's time, so that's 3 o'clock my
East.
time, and
Yeah.
2 o'clock your time.
I was gonna mention you guys. So Sean von Gorman. So he's got Ghost Planet is coming out.
Oh, okay. Yeah, for
next
Scout,
month, so
right?
yeah, I just like how they're promoting it. I like the look of the book. The trailer of it looked really interesting. And that, so yeah, I mean, you guys should give him a shout. Be kind of curious to see how that would go.
All right.
Yeah, I saw his little promo reel he put together on Instagram.
Yeah, he's putting a lot of effort. Yeah.
Yeah, it was pretty cool. Yeah. So, yeah, next
EPHK
Thursday.
talked to us about coming back, but like that's going to be sometime in October. He's going to return. We definitely going to have Richard on to talk about his Kickstarter, but we're going to give him a little space after. We don't want to have him on too soon after he was on House of Nerds next week. So
yeah, it's the launch party next week, right?
Yep.
Yeah, on House of Nerds.
Yeah, that guy pumps it out. Jesus, like
Richard.
Yeah, he's fast. I mean, like he almost has the books out almost monthly. I guess bi-monthly, or maybe tri-monthly. I'm not sure, but for Kickstarters, he's probably have put out 4 issues faster than most other people I follow.
Yeah, and they all look good. They're good-looking books. So
yeah,
I don't
books
know if
that are
I don't know if he's
in
going to
color.
do 8.
Yeah.
I think 12 issues. I think he had for this story arc.
Originally, I think it was 8, but he's
pushed it to 12.
Pushed it to 12.
Yeah.
I think I remember him saying that.
Yeah. Okay.
Oh, Dubious is in the house.
That's gold, G.
Yeah.
Hey, buddy.
I love that song, man.
Yeah. I have that added to my vinyl collection.
Did you get a vinyl?
Yeah.
You got.
I went hog on yours, man. I was like,
you did. Thank you. Yeah.
I got the figure. I was already spending too much. I was like, all right, I'm gonna wait till the last day. If there's a figure left, I'll snag it. If not, I was like, that way I put a rule in place to spend less, and there's still 2 left on the last day, so I snagged one of the last ones. And
I did give you a little bonus thing though with like the Boris fabric.
Yeah, I have it right here.
So yeah,
hanging up on the wall. Yeah,
so,
I got a piece right there. Got that.
Give you some staples so you can keep the staples.
Yeah.
Right, you hold on to that. You never know.
Yeah.
Never know.
Like you said, if you ever get into that limo, that'll be worth a
personal
car. Yeah.
It's personal treasure though too, man. To tell you the truth, like some of these things, I don't care if they blow up or not. They'll always be meaningful to me. You know what I mean?
Should
Like
I should I swab some of that red and send it into send it into Ancestry?
take it easy, Mel. Have a good one.
See you, Mel. Yeah, I think we'll be wrapping it up too.
Yeah, we're
We're
going
getting
on
there.
2 hours. Yeah,
2
that's
hours. That's a solid episode back, man. Solid return.
Thanks, guys. Yeah, honestly, it was a big learning experience today. I mean, half these names, I'm like, really? Yeah.
Yeah.
So,
Oh,
Yeah.
I had actually my DMs were blowing up while I was sick, man. Like EPHK and a couple of them guys wanted to return while I was away. And another guy I need to get on the show is Manny, the guy that does El Crudo. Like I've been promising him to be on, and like every time he's got a campaign, like something's wrong with me, and like I feel bad as hell. So I'm gonna have him on probably a couple of times here in the near future. But
so are you guys gonna try to go weekly, or are you gonna kind of sort of play it by ear?
Yeah, we're going weekly. That's
we're going
usually what we
weekly,
used to do.
probably more, because we like doing the little short episodes during the week too.
Yeah.
And especially with October, we're going to be doing some horror movie episodes. We haven't got it quite figured out yet, but it'll be. I mean, me and Joey, we've been spitballing. We're probably going to do a review episode of Sandman. Help get
Nice.
some more exposure out for that because Netflix still hasn't said if they're going to do a second season or not for it. So
Yeah. God, I love that for a season. It was so good. That bonus episode at the end. Oh my god. Yeah. Great casting too.
And I was thinking we could do like a once a month what you've been listening to, just a roundup of all the music we've been listening to over the past month or every month, like one episode a month like that. Maybe that'd be fun.
That's cool. Yeah.
We could probably snag Fred on that way if we do one of those types of episodes. Yeah, so man, I just wanted to thank everyone that came in. If you're still around, if you haven't stepped out yet, thanks for showing up for a return episode. We appreciate it. The chats were super active tonight. We loved it. You guys gave a lot of good suggestions, and yeah, so
Adrian,
keep
you want to
coming
plug your
back.
social? You want to plug your socials really fast, just so people can follow you?
It's right here. Right. Yep. Just at Adriean Koleric. All platforms.
You also got Think Item, right, too, on Twitter?
Yeah,
Or
I'm doing more so. Yeah, I'm doing more so on the Adriean Koleric one. So kind of trying to be more professional, you know. So
Yeah.
yeah.
Yeah. Hey, well,
Yeah.
definitely. We'll have you back on for the '90s episode because
Yeah.
yeah,
Hit me up anytime.
You're welcome. I basically think of you a part of the cast anyways, man. You've been on,
Pretty
5
much.
times now, so.
I feel like the Don Rickles of like the Carson show. You know what I mean? Just kind of like show up every now and then. You know, the Alec Baldwin of SNL.
Phyllis Diller on Scooby-Doo.
Phyllis Diller Scooby-Doo. Nice. A little deep cut.
Well, I think that's a good one. That's perfect to end it on that. No,
For real. All right, y'all. Take it easy.
take it easy, guys.